being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of age. Being a gentleman is a matter of choice. And as a corollary to that, being a female is a matter of birth. Being a woman is a matter of age. Being a gentlewoman is a matter of choice. Let us all take to spiritual wisdom, learn to make the right choices which are within our control as our gift to God, and thus live our lives as thorough and perfect, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second part of Encounter with Gaur Gopal Das. He was explaining to us his enlightenment and entertainment part in life, where you create a balance, which you would call
Enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
That's right.
So you mix entertainment and enlightenment.
Yes.
All right, I think I do get a grasp of what is entertainment.
Yes.
Care to share more about enlightenment?
Yes. Enlightenment, I believe, is a combination of philosophy, experience, and a process. Philosophy, when I talk to people in terms of enlightenment and giving it to people, the first thing I would talk to them about is the philosophy of life. When we talk about philosophy, we're talking about the world, we're talking about our connections, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about interacting with the world, talking about God, we're talking about the worlds, we're talking a variety of things. Philosophy. But philosophy is intangible.
Yes.
It's kind of abstract. This is why the second aspect of enlightenment is experience, where I would share my stories, my anecdotes, my experiences in the world, which will corroborate the philosophy that I'm speaking.
How are we able to transfer your experience to other people?
I think you actually said it right, it's by keeping it very simple. By keeping it very simple. There used to be the pre-modern era. In pre-modern era, people believed in religion a lot. Everything had to be corroborated by religion. Then we accept it.
There's been a shift now.
That's the pre-modern era. Then in the modern era, people believed in science. Everything had to be corroborated by science to accept it. We live in the postmodern era now. People don't believe in science and they don't believe in religion. They believe in your experience. Don't tell me religion does this. Don't tell me science does this. Tell me how have you been transformed, or what is your experience of what you've learned. So because it's the postmodern era and people rely a lot in their acceptance on experiences, personal experiences.
This is a trend nowadays.
Yes.
A lot of people are highly qualified, and other people are not highly qualified, but they have gathered a lot of experience on site.
Sure.
And people would tend to choose more those people who have experience over those who are qualified.
Absolutely.
And probably who have better interpersonal skills.
That's right.
And management skills. And a lot of your talks, especially the ones in relation to the corporate
Yes.
world, why we focus on the corporate world nowadays?
I think the corporate leaders are gathering and realizing more and more that the efficiency, the productivity of any individual at work can only be ensured if he's fixed inside. If the person's not fixed inside, the person may have excellent skills to deal with the work that's given to him, but if he's messed up inside, he's not present there. You know, when we're talking about work, we're talking about being present there.
Surely.
So I think more and more the corporate world is realizing that people in there have to be fixed internally. This is why they're looking at spiritual leaders, monks, gurus to come and give a talk to their people, to train their people, because this skill-based training is easy. You can hire people to come and get them to learn the skills, but attitude-based training is very difficult.
The rise in yoga especially in the corporate world. I mean, when I'm saying yoga, is not the physical aspect
Yes.
of it. Yoga is in a state of mind,
Yes.
which includes the physical aspect of it.
Correct.
I think you're way better placed than me. Please tell us more about yoga and yoga as a state of mind, a state of living, rather than just the physical aspect of it.
That's right. Yoga definitely is a physical exercise. As you mentioned, one aspect of yoga is a physical exercise. But more than that, yoga has a lot to do with balancing and stabilizing your mind. William Blake, he said, I believe it was William Blake, may or may not be, but I think it was William Blake. He said the mind can make heaven out of hell or hell out of heaven. You could be in the best luxurious comforts, but if your mind is not together, you cannot enjoy even a bit of it. Contrary to that, you might be in the worst of all situations physically. But if your mind is together, you can get the most out of it. I remember I was out somewhere doing a lecturing tour in some country, and I'd gotten news that 8 of my closest friends died in an air crash in Nepal. I had to rush to Kathmandu to identify the dead bodies. One of them was a monk living with us. So I can never forget it.
That's terrible news.
Terrible.
Sorry to hear about that.
I can never, it's been 5 years now, I can never ever in my life forget that episode of rushing to Kathmandu to go and identify the dead bodies. I saw the way the bodies were mutilated. You know, to even make sense out of who's who took a while to us. They're so badly mangled. And then I'd come from the best place in the world, hanging out with the who's who at the events when no one would usually be present easily. But nothing made sense.
Did you try to make some sense of why it happened, or is there a reason? Did you try to go beyond what happened?
Shall I tell you a story?
Please.
Yep. You know, the Nazis during the concentration camps and killing so many Jews, it was painful actually even then. I was in Germany, and just probably about 2.5 hours train ride away from Munich is a place called Dachau, which was probably one of the largest concentration camps. Thousands and thousands of people were gassed to death there. And I went there, and just 15 minutes of being there, I could sense the vibe was so negative.
This dark energy.
Dark energy. We left there. We didn't want to explore the place further. But during the Nazi regime, one family from Poland was picked up and brought to the concentration camp. And all 4 of them kind of dispersed. They couldn't find each other now. And this man from Poland, he was watching the guys around. Every day, every single day, they would make the guys work hard from morning till evening, and in the evening they would gas them to death. Several hundreds and thousands of them. Obviously, everyone around was asking the question that you asked me. Why? Why is this happening to us? They were looking for answers. Why has this world been created the way it is? Why is millions of other people not going through this? And why are we going through this? They were asking these questions. This gentleman from Poland, he was moving around and watching people ask these questions while many were being gassed to death. This guy, he asked the right questions. 2 questions. When we talk about right questions, there are 2 questions. It's not about why it's happening to me. It's about what can I learn from this? Because loads of times that why is beyond us. There are factors which we are not able to see that are responsible for what we're going through. No matter how hard we try to make our way to that, we're not able to do it. So he decided, I'm not going to ask the question, why is this happening to me? I'm going to change my question, what can I learn from this? And question 2 is, how can I move on from here?
What's your next step?
What's the next step? Now, because he had these right questions and his mind was consumed by these right questions, He was moving around in the concentration camp looking for a clue, looking for a hint. What can I learn and how can I move on? And one day as he was walking around beyond the wall, he sensed some really foul smell, stinking like hell. This guy, whilst no one was watching, decided to have a sneak peek. And went to the other side to see what was behind the wall. And he saw a pile of dead bodies from weeks. Decaying. Flesh hanging out, eyes popping out of the sockets. God, this guy decided, this is just too much. As he was just watching, a van came. And the guy came out of the van, a huge truck, and piled up all the dead bodies to take them several thousand miles away to dump them there. This gentleman, his two questions were, what can I learn and how can I move on? In this, he found his clue. The next time, he realized every couple of weeks they would come. The next time when the van was about to come, just a few days before that, this guy went and laid in the pile of dead bodies as if he was a dead body. Now imagine doing that. His flesh and eyes popping out, and the arms hanging out. He laid there as if he was a dead body. And sure enough, in a few days, and for the few days he had to endure it, just laying there. And then came the van. And as they were piling all the dead bodies, his body went in as well. He went in as well. And several dead bodies on top of him. Several thousand miles away, they brought the truck. There's a huge ditch. And they were dumping all the bodies in there. While dumping the bodies, he fell in and all the bodies fell on him.
But still, the bottom line is he found a way out.
Yes. And then when the truck left, this guy escaped, coming back to Poland, survived to tell us a story of what happens when you ask the right questions. When you're talking about why this happened, well, there's many factors which are beyond us to understand why. But what can I learn? It's right in front of me. What can I learn? And how can I move on from where I am? That's pretty much possible for us.
It depends a lot on your sense of observation also.
That's right.
And probably how the things you listen. We always have clues around us that we are too blinded to see.
Sure. You know, I was once, just before resting, I turned my phone to the flight safe mode. And then I got up in the morning and my phone kept being beep, 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 hundreds of beeps.
All your messages came in.
All my messages. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute. When I rested and I put my phone in the flight safe mode, all the messages were right there. It's just that my phone was off.
It's bliss.
It's bliss, yeah. As soon as the phone is on, I turn it on, all the messages which were right there, I received them. Life, God, are constantly sending us messages. If we are off, we're not going to receive them. If we are on, tuned in, that is when we're going to receive them. Observation, what you mentioned, observation of the world and learning around, is therefore only possible for those individuals who are tuned in. If the phone is off, the messages are right there, but you don't get them. It's all around you, millions of people living on the planet. It's all around them. One guy learns and the other guy doesn't. Why? Because one has tuned in.
All right.
The other is just off. And therefore, although it's right there, he or she cannot get it right.
I'll just go back a little bit in time. You're a graduate in electronical engineering.
Yeah.
So how did you how was the leap from a graduate to who you are today?
Yeah. I was in London and I was doing a corporate event. It was with this financial services firm called Ernst & Young, ENY. And we were doing it at their headquarters. And about 125 odd delegates were participating. The title for my talk was A Monk Who Bought His Ferrari.
Robin Sharma is going to love this.
His book was entitled A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So they asked me to speak on this title called A Monk Who Bought His Ferrari. And the message that I gave to them was, you don't have to sell your Ferrari to be spiritually enlightened. You don't have to relinquish your jobs and positions in your family to be spiritually enlightened. You can buy more Ferraris and still be a monk in your world out there, an urban monk, a corporate monk.
This is when you achieve the balance?
That's when you achieve the balance and you're spiritually connected, you know. So when I did my talk, there was a British lady. She raised her hands to ask a question. She said, "Can I ask you a question, please?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "In the introduction, they said that you were an electrical engineer. Why? Why did you quit your profession as an engineer?" I said, "Ma'am, I didn't quit my profession as an engineer. I upgraded my profession from being an electrical engineer to a lifestyle engineer. I don't think I gave up engineering. I just moved from being an electrical to a lifestyle engineer." And I said to her, "Ma'am, all the electrical engineers are fixing problems, but who fixes them?
Sure.
Who fixes people? You fix issues, lawyers fix law issues, accountants fix banking and financial issues, you know, mechanics fix car issues. Who fixes people? You need lifestyle engineers as well to help people fix their life issues." So I truly don't think I gave up my career and profession. I just feel that I upgraded my career and my profession to be a lifestyle engineer. And my experience as an electrical engineer comes handy to me when I go to the corporate world. People take me seriously because I'm a qualified engineer. I've worked with Hewlett-Packard. Unlike someone, a monk who's not had formal education, who's not worked there, it's not as easy for being accepted in the corporate world. So I think it has its value in terms of acceptance. But yeah.
So you upgraded your life into a lifestyle engineer. It makes me think that it comes back to the part where you mentioned about satisfaction.
Yes.
And this is what drives you. You enjoy what you do.
Sure.
And I think it's very important to realize that if we're going to do a job or we're going to commit to something, we might as well enjoy while we do it.
Sure.
And is that a big problem nowadays?
There is actually a problem. That's why people say I'm stressed.
Or I'm poor?
Stressed, frustrated, anxious, worked up, you know. I have to travel a lot, and a busy month for me is between 30 to 45 flights in a busy month.
Wow. That's
And,
a lot of time in the air.
A lot of time in the air. And the least busy month for me is at least between 10 to 15 flights. And there's not one month of the year that I'm not flying.
Come to Mauritius more often, enjoy the beaches, take a week off. Please do it. You will absolutely love it.
I want to, I would love to actually. Now, to be honest, there was a time I would just hate the travel part of it. Just checking in, checking out, airplanes, lounges, that's all. I'm kind of living out of a suitcase, you know. So then I realized, hey, look, wait a minute. 80% of my life is traveling. If it occupies such a major chunk of my life, can I keep saying I hate it? That means 80% of my mind is negative.
So you're adjusting?
Then I decided I have to start putting conscious effort to start enjoying my traveling. How I would do that is a detail.
Okay.
How I would do that is a detail. For me, that detail would be different. For someone else, the detail would be different. But if I don't do it, 80% of my mind is going to be negative. Now, you guys out there watching me talk to Roshan, you know, are going to be working out there in the world. 80% of your life is work. 70 to 60 to 70% of your day goes at work. And if you're going to say, I don't like it, I hate it, man, I have to do it, man, you're negative all the time.
Surely.
Why not start also loving your work? If you're married and you have a family, you have your spouse, well, you have going to live with her or him 80% of the time. You better start liking them. That's when life will become positive and meaningful. It will be satisfying. This is why I say life is divided into two aspects. the have to do's and the love to do's. There's something that you have to do, your work. For me, it's my travel. Have to do's. And then you have the love to do's. Something that you would truly want to love to do, something that charges you up, something that inspires you. And those love to do's is only going to be about 20 to 30% in your life. The major chunk is going to be the have to do's. You don't have a choice. You just have to do it.
That's fantastic.
This is why I say happiness is not so much about liking what you get. I'm sorry. Happiness is not so much about getting what you like. It's more about liking what you get. You don't always get what you like.
Of course.
But why not start liking what you get? Once you make that shift, you start feeling.
And start being grateful for what you have.
Start being grateful for what you have.
We're almost to the end of this episode. Just a personal question. Do you have a routine every day? I mean, you've coached many people, you've written many articles, but who is the person behind the one who I always see on WhatsApp giving talks? Give us a few hints of who is behind the person.
You mean people? Who are the people?
Who are
the individuals behind me?
You, the individuals behind
Yes.
you, and a few aspects of your daily routine. Yes.
Who are the individuals behind me? I must certainly say that my family, my mom and my dad passed away in 2009. My mom's still there, my sister. There was an inertia, there was a little of opposition in the beginning when I took my life as a monk. But they just supported me tremendously, and they still continue supporting me tremendously, without which I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today. Secondly, I would definitely like to thank my gurus, particularly Srila Prabhupada, who founded ISKCON. His books are my inspiration. ISKCON is the organization that has given me what I have. And my guru Radhanath Swami, who has been the inspiration for me in my life, which is based on his inspiration and Prabhupada's inspiration that I'm doing what I'm doing. Thirdly, I have some very, very close friends with whom I spend my time. I cannot trade anything in the world for spending time with these 2 or 3 individuals. One of them is in Mumbai. His name is Govinda Das, one of my very, very close friends. I love to hang out with him. There's a lot of learning and a lot of meaningful exchanges that come through conversations with him. And in London, there are 1 or 2 individuals, Shruti Dharmadas, Pranabandhu Das, some of them who truly, spending time with them truly means a lot to me. So these are the people who are behind me. And of course, God is behind me. In our faith, we call him Krishna. He's behind me. And it is because of these personalities that I do what I do. But to be honest, I'm just the mouthpiece. They are speaking. I'm just the mouthpiece, the instrument who's amplifying. But because people can't see them, they think I am speaking. But I'm just being an instrument in their hands and just sharing what I've received from them. In terms of the routine for me, well, I'm up usually between 3:30 in the morning and 4. After which, beginning 5 till 9:15 in the morning, we have our spiritual program with a more short breakfast break. 9:15 when we finish, then I have my exercise time for 45 minutes to an hour. After I'm done with that, I start catching up with my correspondence. Internationally, I have traveled so much, so there's a lot of correspondence. I'm also on the leadership and the management board at ISKCON Chowpatty in Mumbai. So there's a lot of managerial responsibilities on me, which take me to lunch at about 1:30. Post lunch, I once again get to my work, and then I prepare my talks, presentations. I read a lot. I listen to other speakers, my guru and others. And then it takes me all the way till dinner, which is about 6, 6:15. And then I am ready to go for my events in the evening. And as my events are over, I am back to my room anywhere between 10:30 and 12. So my average sleep is about 4 hours. A luxurious day is 5 hours. A great day is 6 hours of sleep. That's my routine, more or less.
Thank you very much for sharing some insights into your life.
Thank you.
We have now come to the end of this second part of Encounter with Gaur Gopal Das. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Stay tuned and be ready to catch the next episode.